Hello, this is Mike Davis. Welcome to my channel, Chasing Health and Longevity. This is going to be my fifth episode on the Lumen Breath Test Monitor. The Lumen device and metabolic health program have received a lot of attention lately, a lot of press and a lot of praise. I wanted to check it out. I wanted to try it. I want to see if this is something that I could incorporate into my health and longevity journey. The Lumen website is lumen.me. Starts off with some bold statements. The first device to hack your metabolism. Pretty bold, but I like it. Next, they say it starts with a breath. Lumen is the world's first handheld portable device to accurately measure metabolism. Once available only to top athletes in hospitals and clinics, metabolic testing is now available to everyone. Great. So I want to have the same benefits as top athletes too. So sounds good to me. Let's give it a try. So in this video, I'm going to give you an overview of the product, the associated services, the app, the cost, all the pros and the cons, everything you'd want to know before giving Lumen a try. So how does Lumen work? Lumen measures CO2 as a metric that correlates with RER, or respiratory exchange ratio. Athletes do use that. It's been out there for a long time. RER and RQ, which is the blood equivalent. RER determines via breath, but that's going to look at energy or calories that are expended by measuring the ratio of the volume of carbon dioxide produced to the volume of oxygen used. Lumen uses a correlation of CO2 measurements to determine whether you're burning fats or carbohydrates as energy. Lumen is a portable handheld device that connects to your smartphone through a Bluetooth connection. It contains a CO2 sensor and a flow meter to determine the carbon dioxide concentration in your breath. To take a breath measurement, you begin by inhaling a breath of air, holding it for 10 seconds, and then breathing out. Each person has a unique CO2 range, and Lumen does learn that to give you a result unique to you. The Lumen Metabolic Program is a carbohydrate restrictive plan that's designed to teach your body metabolic flexibility. You've heard me talk about that in previous videos, as this is a key goal for me in my own health and longevity journey. Metabolic flexibility is really important to my long-term plan. Basically, that means when carbohydrates are present and available in your body, that your body's going to want to burn those carbohydrates. But when those carbohydrates are depleted or lower, we want the body to be able to switch to burning fat. So that's the flexibility, being able to go back and forth between burning carbs and burning fat. And that's what Lumen claims to measure. The Lumen plan incorporates high carb days, they call boost days, and low carb days, as well as time-restricted eating, or what you hear me talk about as intermittent fasting. Lumen does use what they call macronutrient manipulation. This is low-carb days that decrease insulin spike, thus improving your insulin sensitivity and deplete your carb stores that enhance mitochondrial function. High-carb days ensure your body's ability to use carbs for energy and keep hormones in balance. Working out obviously improves mitochondrial function, we know that, which makes you more efficient at burning energy. Working out, though, when you have low carb storage, specifically trains your mitochondria to burn fat. That's part of that metabolic flexibility training that we're trying to do with the Lumen device. Time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting depletes your body's carb stores, which enhances mitochondrial function. It helps us to burn more fat and increase insulin sensitivity. Lumen does provide you with a daily measurement of the source of energy, whether you're burning fats or whether you're burning carbohydrates. They do that on a fairly simplistic scale of 1 to 5. After about 4 to 8 weeks, they claim that they'll show you a flex score. This flex score shows you how flexible your metabolism is. That really is a measurement of your ability to switch between burning fats and carbs back to fats again. Okay, so how much is it? The pricing is $249. That includes the Lumen device and 6 months of service in the app. $299 gets you 12 months of service and the Lumen device, and $349 gets you 18 months of service and the device. Notice that there is no way for 2 or more people to share a Lumen. I was a little bit disappointed in that. I was hoping my wife and I could share one, but there's really no way to do it. I was hoping maybe a reduced membership if you already have one, but they don't offer anything like that. So I ordered the Lumen device. It took about 2 weeks to get here. Once I opened it, I noticed that it was shipped directly from China, so that explains the time delay. But the packaging was quite nice. The device feels very high quality. It does have a charging stand rather than plugging directly into that. I never like having a charging stand. It's just one more thing that could get broken or lost or not work. So just note that that stand is part of it. That's the only way to charge the device. But after you get the product, the next step is get the app. So I have an Android phone. I open Google Play Store, type in Lumen, and it really took me right to the correct app. There weren't a whole lot of other choices there, so it wasn't too confusing. Once the app is installed, you'll go through the setup process, which is a lot of your specific information. It is at this time that you'll be asked to choose a track. Now, don't be confused. When they were selling you before, they asked you to choose a track 6, 12, or 18 months. This is different. Same terminology, but this is choosing a track based upon your personal goals and how you're going to align with those personal goals. You're going to choose between healthy weight loss, obviously metabolic flexibility, and this one's going to have a calorie deficit associated with it. Next, you have fitness performance. This is a way for you to improve workouts or athletic performance. Notice that there are 3 different options there. There's increased endurance, which they say standard protein levels, though they don't say really what standard protein levels are. Then they have improved body composition, which is 11% additional protein, though from what we don't know. And increased muscle mass, 22% increase in protein. Then you have lastly, metabolic health, which is I think sort of their baseline because everything this program is about centers around metabolic health. So I think that's incorporated into the other 2 as well. It also gives you the ability to enter a very generic description of your workout schedule or schedules. This can be helpful. I found it a little bit limited in scope and detail, but it does allow you to add your workout schedules, and it is going to take this in consideration for your overall caloric needs, as well as when it starts to give you some of your macro numbers on the daily plan. Okay, so taking the measurement. You'd think that breathing into a device would be easy enough, but it actually took me a few tries to get it right. The process is you're going to open up the app, you're going to click the Measure Now button with the wind icon, I guess it is, turn on the Lumen, so one button to press to turn that on, and choose when you're measuring. That might be before a meal, it might be after a meal, it might be after a workout. They give you a number of different options, and those options vary according to the information that you enter, and they can continue to adjust as you change your program. And then follow the on-screen instructions.
Inhale deeply through your Lumen. Hold your breath. Exhale in 3, 2, 1.
So how is Lumen different from using ketone testers? Well, Lumen is not measuring ketones. We've talked about that elsewhere. Ketone analyzers are mainly used for people who want to see if your body's in ketosis. And we do know that ketones are produced from fat burning, and we do see that also as a part of a low carb or carb restricted diet. But unlike a ketone tester, Lumen claims to tell you if your body is actually burning fat, regardless if you have ketones or not. It is possible to be burning fat and not have ketones in your blood or especially breath, as we know. But regardless, if your body is showing that or not, in other ways, Lumen is claiming that they can show you if your body is burning fat or burning carbs. You also should be able to see the level of carbohydrate usage that your body is using to produce that energy, which can't be detected by ketone testers. So just to reiterate, Lumen's not telling you if you're in ketosis. Lumen is not telling you if you have ketone bodies present. It's not measuring ketones. So it's not telling you if you are in ketosis. It is claiming to tell you if you're fat burning or carb burning. And we'll talk some more about that in another video. But there's a lot of other reasons to know if you're in ketosis. A lot of that is going to have more to do with energy metabolism and mitochondria. And again, we've got another upcoming video that's going to talk a lot more about that. So for me, I'm just getting started with Lumen, done all the research, got the device, I've got it set up, I'm getting ready to use it, and I see that there are some pros and cons. So pros, this is science-backed. I did look it up, I did read some papers about it, and this is a science-backed technology with real-time feedback for fat or carbohydrate energy burning. It is relatively easy to use. This program claims to help teach your body how to be more metabolically flexible. Also, the ability to switch, or teaching you better how to switch between fat burning and carbohydrate burning. Lumen also recommends, and it seems that their plan does benefit from an intermittent fasting eating plan. I have adopted intermittent fasting, as we've talked about in other videos, so that's good for me. You do receive daily recommendations for your macros, so proteins, fat, and carbohydrates. These recommendations are going to be based on the track that you chose, so whether you chose metabolic flexibility, the improved performance, or the weight loss. So it's going to be based upon those and your reactions to past meals. So if you eat something, you take a breath and you measure a certain way, Lumen's going to learn over time how your body is reacting to different foods, different meals, different calorie levels, different macro levels. It's intelligent. Very good information. And there is a very good meal tracker in the app. So you get to track your breakfast, lunch, dinners, and snacks. So you really need to do that. To get the full benefit of the Lumen system, you need to be diligent about tracking your foods each day. So it's good. It's a nice system. It reminds me a lot of some other apps that are out there. So I think they've taken some things that are working well for others and applied it here. You also have the ability to track all foods or carbs only if you don't want to go to the extra effort of tracking all your foods. Exercise is incorporated into the plan, so you can add your workout schedule, which is taken into consideration for your caloric and your fat and macro expenditures. And it allows measurements to be taken before and after. So as you make some changes to your schedule, you'll see those changes reflected in times when you measure. Am I measuring before or after this? So my summary of the pros. I think Lumen is an awesome tool. It gives you good feedback, it's insightful data, the recommendations are common sense, and it really should be a breakthrough tool for a lot of people. Just that feedback and the learning process of how your body's reacting to different foods is really important. I think this is going to help a lot of people lose weight. I think if you're a diligent user, meaning you're someone who enters meal data, you take multiple readings per day at the right times of day, after meals, after working out, etc., and you follow the nutritional plan at least at the macro level and the caloric level, then you should have excellent results. Now for some cons. The device only works with a subscription to the service. I think that's a little disappointing. The accounts that they have are 6, 12, and 18 months. Of course, they are going to auto-renew on you. Only one person can use a Lumen at a time. You have to have a subscription. The subscription comes with the device. So you can't share with a friend, family member. As I said, my wife and I wanted to use a single one. Not possible. If you do, as somebody in my house has, it does skew your data a little bit. So each Lumen is just associated with a single account. I also am a little frustrated at the simplicity. You don't have the ability to see the raw data like levels of CO2 and the correlated RER scores. You can only see their interpretation of those numbers on a 1 to 5 scale. You're burning fats, you're burning carbs. I think it's very basic and very limiting, but I understand the purpose of it. Also, we talked about intermittent fasting as a part of their plan. And while that does work for me, it may not work for everybody. Intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating can be challenging for some people and some people's schedules. So if that doesn't work for you, know that this plan is going to be maybe slightly less effective than otherwise could have been. The macro recommendations that you get each day are a bit generic. I think there could be a lot more thought into the type of calories and carbs, fats, etc. that you are eating, like when you're eating them could be important. I also think that if you're going to go to the effort of tracking your exercise and tracking your food intake, you should also be tracking your water. I think water and hydration is a critical part of your health journey and weight loss. So not only did you eat, but did you drink? Did you get the water in that you wanted for the day? You know, if I just a couple extra buttons there to be able to tell me I drank enough water. Also, the exercise function, again, here, not really enough granularity in the options. It does give you the ability to delete a day if you skip, or assign a low, medium, or high intensity rating each day, but not super granular. In summary, I do have a few disappointments about the device and the service, the subscription in particular. I really wish there was a way to get more data from the device so I could look at that myself and not have to follow their daily plans. But I understand why they're doing that. I really wish there was the ability to have a second user, even with a reduced subscription fee, something that would more encourage a family to do this together. I think a family that would do this together, or even a husband and wife that would do this together, would be a lot more successful. And I think they're discouraging that through the everybody must have their own subscription and their own device. Even a slight break would make a difference here so far. Overall, though, my only critiques are really about the simplistic nature of the information you get and the account and services structure. Otherwise, I'm really impressed. I find that sometimes doing all the diety research and tracking this and tracking that, sometimes I'm overcomplicating and I'm thinking too much and I'm getting too much in my own head about some of this stuff. And I see results just not happening for a couple days or weeks or even a month at a time. And it's frustrating. I think that Lumen is really getting back to the basics and in a very intelligent way. So I'm going to try Lumen over the next month. I'm excited to do that. I think it's going to help me. I think it's going to help me stay focused on the parts that are important of watching my food and watching the results that I get from that. And I really want to share with you. So I can't wait to see what happens over the next month. I'm going to follow it diligently. I'm going to track it. And I'm going to make sure that I'm sharing all that information with you here on a future upcoming video. So please like and subscribe and notify. Thanks a lot for watching Chasing Health and Longevity.